It's been 5 months, 5 impossibly long and short months since mental illness took his bright light, his big heart, and his gorgeous blue eyes from me, from the kids, from all of us. He was 31. The twinkle in his eyes was his tell. Maybe he knew that or maybe he didn't, but I could always tell how he was doing by looking into his eyes. It was like peering into his soul. I could see and feel his joy when he came home after a great day at work, his desire for perfection when preparing a meal shared with friends, his passion when he kissed me and told me that he loved me. I could also see it in his eyes when he was lost in the deepest, darkest corners of his mind, trying to make sense of what he was feeling and seeing, facing paranoia and anxiety that at times overwhelmed him. The disbelief and anger when I sometimes told him that I saw things in a different light. I can close my own eyes now and conjure up the moments when I saw the twinkle in his eyes return, like the sun piercing through a cloud. After a good night's sleep, when his meds kicked in, or when I held him close and said, "Baby, I've got you." But all the sleep, all the medication, and all the support and those who loved and cared for him weren't enough. I remember the night we met like it was yesterday. He was flirty and funny on Tinder, and his charm and impossibly good looks were the first things I noticed when I opened the door and saw him on my front porch. He introduced himself as Chalet, but said that everyone who loves him calls him Chapeau. The kids and I fell in love with so many things about Chapeau. His quick wit, his sense of humor, and the thing that my daughter Michaela described so beautifully as his extraness. The way he'd dip his toast in everyone's eggs at breakfast, play a Bluetooth speaker like an air guitar, or the over-the-top cakes he'd make to celebrate special occasions. Shallow brought so much joy into my life, and we shared so much. Our home, a mutual obsession with gardening and plants, a closet full of clothes and shoes, and of course our love for each other. Of all the gifts he gave, his love was the greatest. A love he expressed in so many ways, including when he met my parents for the first time. The moment he bounded out of the car, introduced himself, and told them he was proud to be my boyfriend. A lifetime of anxiety, fear, and shame melted away in an instant. It was a profound liberation and a precious gift, one that gave me the courage to be my true self in every part of my life. It's a gift I will cherish forever. While Shallow loved his work in hospitality, there came a point when he realized the hours, the stress, and the substances that often came with it weren't healthy for him or for us. I remember the quiver in his voice when he told me he wanted to leave it all behind and do something else with his life. That was 4 years ago. At that moment, Shallow found the courage to say no more, to seek help, to forgive himself, and to start to let go of the things, the preoccupations, and the people that hurt him. But his courage wasn't enough. As I reflect on the past few years, the timeline of events and moments remains a blur, but the pattern of our joyous highs and dismal lows, that's what I remember. Highs and lows often precipitated by seemingly random events or moments of serendipity. A call from an old friend, a helicopter overhead, a litter of 10 puppies, or a global pandemic. Some came with more, and some with little to no warning. Despite all of this uncertainty, we took this time to be open and honest, messy and vulnerable, intimate and afraid, together. We sought help and took care. A stint in rehab, his psychiatrist, each of our therapists, the medication he for the most part took, the sanctuaries we sought, the studio in the basement where he spent hours painting, drawing, and creating, the gym down the street where I worked out and worked through my feelings and frustrations, the times we escaped, whether in the kitchen, in the garden, or on a wonderful trip we took to Switzerland and France. A new job for him in landscaping, with the chance to be outside, to get his hands dirty, and to bring home plants for the garden. A new job for me too, in community engagement at TD, something that aligned with my values and also came with generous mental health benefits for both of us. All of these became parts of our system of care. We both had appointments with our therapists 2 days before Charlot died. That night over dinner, we talked about our sessions and the progress we were making. We did the dishes. We made love. We fell asleep in each other's arms for what would be the last time. We were doing the work and putting in the effort. It wasn't often easy, but we were committed to each other and the journey we were on together. But it still wasn't enough. Charlot ended his suffering in the sanctuary of his studio, surrounded by his art, his projects, and the plans that we were making. I'm angry, not with him, but with the mental illness that consumed him, a cruel and cunning thief. The next morning, I called his mom, overwhelmed with guilt and grief. I'm sorry. I should have stayed home, given him his meds. Lee, it's not your fault, she said. She knew that the love, care, and support I shared had given Charlot and all of us more time. While I take comfort that he's at peace, I am left in pieces. I resist the temptation to blame his death on a single cause or diagnosis. Substance use, anxiety, paranoia, past trauma. While none of these defined him, they were all a part of him, just like his quick wit, his big heart, and his gorgeous blue eyes. Often, as waves of grief roll over me, I turn to gratitude to stay afloat, consider things about him and our life together that I'm grateful for. Today, I am grateful for his sketches, some of which I shared with you already. This one especially, a self-portrait that so beautifully and devastatingly shows what Charlot was living with and how he was feeling. I am also grateful for the efforts of the team at the Royal, their commitment to better understand mental illness and substance use, their tireless efforts to better understand the brain and find innovative ways to help more people like Charlot. And while Charlot is no longer here, I know he would want nothing more than to make things better for someone else, to bring joy to someone's life, to create more hope. You were enough, Charlot. You were more than enough. Je t'aime, bébé. Je t'aime. Thank you.